Alright, guys. Hero in the top left side of the map. Rogue in the bottom right. Two of these guys already fighting in the losers bracket here. In the RSL. Should be a fun match. Rogue, the trickster, the man who loves to play greedy, is very vulnerable to glaive adepts. And of course, Hero, the man who does not know how to build a wall off and recently has innovated this playstyle after the Chinese audience over at the Thunderfire $50,000 Invitational, which he destroyed, by the way, in a one-sided fashion. Amazing run. Obliterated the three best Zergs in the world there, Solar, Rainer, and Serral, one after the other. The audience kept laughing at his wall-offs. The Chinese commentators kept making fun of it. People make fun of me, like, Pig's such an elitist. He always makes fun of Hero's wall-offs. He couldn't do any better. Guys, the entire Chinese commentators, who are all former pro gamers, all they did for the whole tournament was laugh at Hero's wall-offs. The Observer kept zooming in on them, and you could hear the entire stadium of Chinese audience just cackling at his walls. I think he basically, the shame of that, or maybe he's proud of it, I don't know, whatever it is, it's motivated him recently to innovate, and he just says, you know what? Why would I wall off if I'm never going to leave a unit in the wall? Let's just build the buildings here, gas first. He's literally, he doesn't have to run his probe back and forth building buildings, losing mining time, maximum mining time efficiency. And it's a really, really greedy, this is the greediest opening you can do. It's really quite nice. Hatch gas pool for Rogue, nothing special here. We'll see how we go. We were just discussing different beers in Canada and America, guys. Some Canadians are very angry in my chat right now because I pointed a picture of some garbage that had a bunch of Budweiser boxes and a Moosehead box. And I said, oh, it must be Canadian. So it looks very cold there. All the trees were bare. I think there might be a bit of snow on the ground in the image. And, you know, Moosehead apparently is a Canadian beer. And people go, no! Canadians would never have Budweiser! So apparently, you guys let me know in the comments. If you're Canadian, do you think drinking Budweiser on Canadian soil, is that a travesty, is it? Definitely, we don't really have any Bud in Australia. I don't think anyone drinks Bud in Australia. I think there's certain beers that are like very much just sold in one country. Foster's, famous Australian beer, only sold in the UK. I guess America as well, never in Australia. Budweiser, I think pretty much only sold in America, to my knowledge. But I guess the Moosehead is probably sold both sides of the border. Adept going across the map there. Link speed's on the way. Third queen. Okay, pretty chilled out opening. We do have the Stargate in the back, guys. What I love is the wall off that he's added. Notice his pylon's not equidistant. It's much closer on that side to that side. Usually that makes it a bit harder to wall off because it might not reach this edge. That's a classic hero move. Adept looking for any Zerglings that were trying to sneak in. Doesn't find any. And it is a Void Ray first. You should see a Chrono. He hits 50 energy. Chrono goes down on that Void Ray, and he almost always goes Void Ray into Oracle these days. Used to be when someone opened Void Ray, they'd always go like Tempest or Charge Lot all in or something afterwards, but Hero kind of just does it his own way, and he's just not walling off at all. Guys, he's not even started his natural wall, and he's going to build a third Nexus. You absolute frigging degenerate. Oh my god, I love you so much, Hero. This is great. This is either the greatest or the dumbest thing we've ever seen. We're going to find out, and I am here for the ride. Third Nexus is going to go down. Oh, this is awesome. All right, Link's moving out. We've got spores coming in. One in the main. None in the natural just yet. I guess he's going very early 5 queen, so he doesn't need the spores that early. Especially with Void Ray first. You could even skip the first spore for quite a while, but he actually left the Overlord alive. Oh, and that's because he wants the Overlords. He didn't want to reveal the Void Ray, so he gets across the map. If he goes south, he might find another one. Rogue a bit slow to pull this back. If that Void Ray goes to the side, he could do well. Hero, a little bit slow to pull it back. Ling walks in the base and gets a free scout of literally everything. Lack of a wall off does hurt. Going for another gateway and a Twilight in the wall off. Now, Rogue needs to be economical, guys. He's got a very quick fourth. And I think we're going to see a lair start up as he hits 150 minerals. Right now, he's just killing drones, but I think we're going to see that lair any second now. Evo chamber first. Okay. He's got a lot of gas bank. That's why I thought he was going to go straight Hydras, but the recent games I've seen from Rogue, and he showed this in the upper bracket against Trigger, right? Just melee into Hydraling every game. Every single game. It's very weak to Glaive Adept follow-ups. Has Hero learnt from Trigger's lesson? Trigger, I think that series would have been much easier. Even though he ended up winning, very close series, it would have been much easier if he'd adapted. Now, some people get annoyed when I talk about these other series. They, oh, stop spoilering! Sorry, guys. If you don't watch the videos in order on my channel, then you might get spoiled. If you watch them in order of release, it is what it is. We try not to spoil too many, but when there's a series right before this where one player gets knocked out in the same matchup to the lower bracket, it's kind of important context. And I think we're going to have to accept that sometimes you'll get spoiled on a different match when you're not watching them chronologically. It is what it is. Overlord goes down. 4th hatchery there. Melee's on the way. Still no lair. Okay, finally it goes down. I mean, obviously he's focused on his droning really hard, which is good. I have that 7-gate blink coming in. Oh, this feels pretty committed, man. I think Hero's just going to shove with Blink Stalkers, is he? Just Void Ray, 2 Oracles. Hasn't really found much damage, but he's not lost a single unit. We can see how we go. Oh, did he just warp in 2 Adepts, guys? Or did he? No, I think it was Stalkers warping in. He already had the Adepts. Already 3rd base going to 6 gas. 71 workers. 5th hatchery on the way. But why is he building a Roach Warren, guys? It's way too late. Even if it was Glaive Adepts or something, that's not done in time. Yeah, that makes no sense. Okay, Baneliness. Much better. Much better. Roach Warren's there as an early defensive structure if there's like early Zealots or Adepts. This late in the game, it's like you could just have Hydras at the same moment. So Baneling's mesh is a bit better. Hydroden still hasn't started. That's very late. The Les finished, but he's distracted and Rogue's got to be careful. He's got a good economy. 6 gas now comes down. Okay, this is the famous build. You guys have heard me talk about this. This is where Hero takes 6 gases, but he has nothing to spend gas on. He hasn't started the Templar Archives, so he's going to do a Florencia. Okay, finally. The Templar Archives goes... I hate this build. He does it all the time, where Hero takes his gases, like, way before he can actually spend the gas, and then just makes Stalkers and Zealots for, like, 4 minutes, and then he's like, hey, I have 1,400 gas in the bank. This time, he at least dropped the Templar Archives after taking the gas, which is a bit better. Hero and kind of oddball builds that he just figures out on the fly. Very common combo. Guys, where's the Hydroden? What in the world? He's going Hive. He's going to play Ultras. Oh, he's on 86 worker Ultras. But the Stasis Traps. Oh, he doesn't split off for the Stasis Traps very well. But that's like, I mean, he loses the 5th base. Great snipe. There's no reason to lose this base. That was a huge blunder. I'm going to say that was a blunder. No reason Hero should have got that. Now he's got 87 workers. Doesn't have enough mineral patches to mine. That being said, it's only the last 8 workers, right? As long as he takes gases down here, he's still got 4 bases fully mined. It's not a huge blunder. It's a blunder. It's a small blunder. Small blunder. Let's correct that. I apologize, guys. Bit too harsh on that. It was just an unnecessary mistake. Evo's sitting idle. I'd love to see +2 melee on there. And I'm surprised to see someone go Ultras without making a second Evo. Okay, he does have a second Evo. There we go. Okay, it's in the back of the main. Normally, you want to get those double upgrades going for the Ultras. He's making a few Banes, but he's not making speed. So I think he's purely just going to have a handful of Banes mixed in. Actually, he's make 17. Oh, he's forgotten Baneling speed. Rogue, wake up, bro. Rogue, wake up. Here comes the Archons. It's only a few Archons, not many Zealots yet. Massling Bane maybe could deal with this, but he needs a good surround. The Queen's getting jumped on, which means the Oracles are going to be a real problem. Remember, his Queens are his only anti-air. Stasis Traps going down in the front. Oh my lord, these Stasis Traps. Okay, they didn't get the biggest Stasis Traps. Baneling's running into the Archons. That's not great. Trying to get on top of these Stalkers with the Zerglings. Hero taking a pretty fantastic angle of the fight. But has he overcommitted into the Zerg territory? One Archon goes down. That Archon gets surrounded instantly. Oh, but Rogue pulls back. Unfortunate. And guys, I think Hero might be able to take him out. There's still a lot of Zerglings. Remember, it's these couple of Archons are everything, and they're very damaged. If you suddenly don't have any Archons in the fight, the Ling army beats you. Now, we're going Fleet Beacon and Robo. I think Hero might be realizing this is going to be Ultras. Hero is famously weak against Ultras because he attacks into them on creep. If you attack before the Ultras are out, it's really good. He's been doing that, but he's not reinforcing any Archons, so it's still dangerous right now with only 2 Archons low on shields. You don't want to let these Lings surround. Just roam, clear creep, force Massling Bane. Baneling Speed and Adrenal Glands finally are on the way. A little bit delayed, though. And you've got a pump of Mortals, Storm, and Defend. But this is Hero's famous no Storm style. Just making as many Archons as he can to deal with the Zerglings. Storm is pretty essential against this amount of Ling Bane. It absolutely ruins the Ling Bane, but eventually once the Ultras are out, you need double Robo Immortal pumping. Otherwise, you just can't deal with those Ultralisks. Those Archons mostly regen their shields by now. And I like the way he's not presenting his army for easy surrounds. Once there's 5 Archons together as well, it's even harder for Zerg to engage. But Rogue He knows who he's playing, guys, and he says, you know what? I have Adrenal Zerglings with +2 about to finish and already +1 Kara. Why don't I go get some free damage? By the way, there was an opening there! There was an opening on the right side of the wall the whole time! Hero with one of his famous 2-hole wall-offs, guys. What can I say? What he's so consistently bad on his wall-offs. It's amazing. The Zerglings unburrow in the natural while the ones in the main burrow. He cleanses a lot of the mineral line, burrows again, and look at this massive Zerglings. A couple cannons ain't gonna deal with that. That is so funny. Hero doesn't wall off until about 5 minutes, and then he leaves 2 holes in it like the legend he is. No unit on standby, so it doesn't even matter. Banelings are here. He needs to let the Archons up the ramp. He wants to get the Zealots. Tries to go forward here. Got to be careful. There are Ultras, but rolling in. I mean, the Protoss is kind of clumped on the ramp. He actually does blow up 3 Archons and a couple Zealots. Ultras doing really good at tanking with the transfuses. More Ultras popping out. Kindness isn't here, but Ultras do really well against Zealots, as you can see on that top right side. Lings are coming in from behind as well. The Archons, though, so good against these Zerglings. The Ultras and the Zerglings trying to get on top. All the Lings are coming home. There's still Zerglings there that could unburrow if Rogue has the wherewithal to do that in the midst of everything. Is he going to be able to? We'll find out in a moment. There we go. They've unburrowed. The moment he shut that push down, he does it. There's a base up here as well. Hero attacking in, which was a really good call, like before the Ultras were out. But like I said, once the Ultras are out, you don't want to attack on creep. It's the worst thing you can do against it. Hero is famously weak against Ultras because he has lost literal world champion matches multiple times doing this. And at the end of those matches, Hero has looked at the replay and said, I'm going to repeat that in my next few tournaments. If you get Ultras out against her, which admittedly is very hard to do, most people would die before they get to Ultras, you have a pretty good chance of him attacking into the Ultras on creep. Lings countering, surrounding the Zealots. These Ultras need to back away. The Lings are very expendable. Look at how many probes he's killed. +2 melee, Adrenal Gland. So much damage. The Nexus is going to get focused back to 2 base for Hero. And that is friggin' awesome. Awesome to see, man. Ultras are here as well. Is Rogue the best Korean Zerg right now? It's between him and Solar. Rogue, I'd say, is a bit less consistent, but his peaks are higher than Solar's. But his lows are also much lower. Solar, there are players that Hero will lose multiple series in a row to, that Rogue will lose multiple series in a row to, that I don't think Solar ever drops a map to. On the other hand, Rogue can beat the best of the best that kind of beat Solar 7 times in a row. Ultras jumping on top. Queens dealing with the Oracles. The Ultra line is just too thick. Obviously, he had to attack here, but with no Immortals to deal with those Ultras, Ultras are one of the best units in the open. When they've got surface area, if you're attacking on creep in the open, you don't have a massive Immortals, the Ultra becomes the daddy. The weakness of the Ultra is if you're behind buildings, you're behind wall-offs, you're in choke points, and you've got lots of Immortals. The Ultralisk falls off a cliff in terms of efficiency. But Hero moving out there when he could have just chilled on 4 bases and made double robo. This is the decision that Hero almost always makes against Ultras. It's very consistently what he does. I think up to about 10 minutes, he did such a good job. Sniped the 5th, roamed with his army. He lets the Lings in, which was definitely a bit of a mistake. But I think after that, he still could have just dropped a second robo, pumped Immortals, been in a pretty good spot. But attacking here, once the Ultras are coming out, and you know Ultras will be here any moment now, and your army's very basic. So I think what I would say the problem here is obviously not just does he leave himself open to Zerglings, but if you're going to try and fight with this army, you force the fight and commit earlier before the Ultras are out, rather than just going around and clearing creep and being annoying. If he committed to the fight, I'd be okay with him gambling on that, but now he's waited too long. And that's the big mistake Hero's made here. So I think in his mind, he probably still thinks he's got 30 more seconds till Ultras are out. And it kind of looks scary here fighting with the Protoss on the ramp. But the Ultras pop just in time and clean him up. And of course, the Zerglings ravage him at home. GG, well played. Great game 1 for Rogue. Right, guys. Here we're in the bottom left side of the map. Celestial Enclave, and he's going across to block. Because it's very annoying to get blocked on this map. So you want to take this base. He's going to get there very early to ensure he blocks. I don't even think you need to go across this early. But I think he's like, hey, sometimes they go 14 hatch before Overlord at like 32 seconds, 31 seconds. So he's like, I'll get here right on 30. Get the block down. And ensure you can't do anything. He's just going to quickly go in. When he sees the drone, should be able to quickly react and make sure that doesn't go down. So Rogue's going to move out to the 3rd. Should be building another drone. Oh, he's still going to try and go 16 hatch. I think he should have gone 17. You see, he's got 50 minerals by the time it goes down. Oh, he baits him. He baits him. Oh, Hero too greedy. Lets him take the hatchery. Only a 6-second delay. That's perfectly fine. This is great for Hero, for Rogue. Hero just too greedy getting baited there. You can follow it, but you got to immediately double back. Or otherwise, they can trick you. And Rogue, fantastic counterplay. Tricks Hero. Hero takes the bait of chasing that drone. A second one comes down to build the hatchery. Big mistake. A circle. Gateway on the natural. Nexus goes up. 1 minute 30. Just 1 minute 29. It's a little late, but it's kind of meant to be late. When you open up like this, you sacrifice a lot of minerals for that early probe, which is why your opponent getting the base down is so annoying. Now, Rogue is just chasing the probe with one drone, which is perfectly fine. You should go back to mine now. But Rogue doesn't really micro against the probe as well as other players. He just kind of lazily sends a drone on it and continues his build. I think Rogue here is like, I just don't want to get thrown off. I don't want to fiddle with like annoying reactive micro here. I just will leave a drone chasing you. It's the lowest APM response. I would say not the most efficient, but it's fine. It's fine. Now, if Rogue goes Mass Zergling into Ultra again, that's crazy. I think that's a great build when it's a little bit of a surprise. But we have been complaining a bit that players aren't hitting Glaive Adept timings against him. I just want to see why. Why are they afraid? Why are they not taking advantage of the obvious weakness that he's had for over a year? Classic. Was taken advantage of him a long time ago. And I think it's interesting to see how Rogue reacts. If he's like, because what does he do to change his build? Does he just get a safety Roach Warren? Does he scout really well to figure out if there's a Glaive Adept timing? At the moment, we don't even see him worried about it because players just aren't hitting him with it, and he's getting away with murder. Pylon goes down. Very cutesy block. Now remember, Rogue only likes to build 2 Zerglings. So he can't actually build his third. He has to go for the inside base. Oof, very annoying. Hero, great start, man. I mean, I know the earlier part wasn't great, but this is very annoying. This base is nowhere near as good. Only 5 minerals. You really want all 8 mineral patches on your third base as a Zerg. That being said, Rogue's been taking some pretty fast fourth bases. And I think with that back third, you're basically shoehorned into going melee upgrade fast fourth. A perfect game to do a Glaive Adept follow-up. You force him into an awkward base, hit him. I guess you could argue the wall off could shut that down. Maybe not the best map for it, actually. Yeah. I think there's an argument this is a bad map for it if he walls off. It seems like a bad build for Zerg to just wall off on 3 base fully, but I can understand wanting to save it for a different map. Hey, Pig, the forward rich gas base is OP. Oh, you're just trying to trigger me. This is a terrible expansion. This base is really bad. This base is like actually bait. It's such a bad expansion. Pros always take it. I always make fun of them for it. I'm like, you guys like massively overemphasize the power of a rich gas geyser. The number of build times I see players take that when there's much better bases. It's only got 5 minerals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's pretty trash. At least 3 of the minerals are heavy patches and only 2 of the 900 mineral patches, but still, it's only 5 minerals. It's a bit of an awkward one. Ooh, he said the C word. What, crap? What did I say? Are we calling crap the C word? I know some people, I once came across someone, I was talking to an American person, I said crap and they were like offended. I don't know if they're from like the Bible Belt or something, but like in Australia, crap is like the most passive word ever. It's like saying poo or something, you know? And I remember this person was like, really, they were like, oh, you could, like, you know, you can't swear like that. I was like, what? What in the world? Cute little Tastelope hanging around behind the gases, guys. Third Nexus, very late for Hero. He's going to do a 2-star Tempest. This is one of the nastiest builds to play against, but Rogue has rushed Hydras. Oh, Rogue's going for a 3-base Hydra Link timing. Look at this, guys. 5 gases, 58 workers, no 4th base. He's just going to rush Hydras out. And that's actually pretty decent against Tempests. Oh, this is actually a really good matchup of build orders. He didn't even know that he was playing against this. This just happens. He's like, oh, I had to take the back base. You know what? Let's rush out Hydras. And you can still turn this into a macro build because his 4th base is not badly timed. He can still turn this into a macro build, but the fact now he sees the Tempest with the Zerglings. Oh, Hero's in trouble, man. Hero also taking the back base, so both players taking the kind of crappy back base. This is really funny. Oh, this game's going to get awkward. Oh, this is going to get really awkward. Because those Hydras, I mean, they can't catch you in this dead space, but they could shove across the map. They might catch the rallying ones as well. Oh, I mean, and you can just transfer workers off this base to this base, because this base is already half done. So you lose a little bit of mining time, but as long as you don't let all your drones die, I don't think you care too much about this as Rogue. Drop a Spire, and the spores are going to come down just to try and buy a bit of time. Hero, 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 hero. Oh my god, he let the Lings break the ramp. He didn't even notice. The rocks have gone down. He didn't notice. He just built a pylon there. Gonna lose a few probes here. Oh, hero and letting Lings into his base. Name a more iconic duo. He loses 5 probes, not too bad, but the Hydras are running in now as well. Tempest can eventually defend this, but he's only built 4, and they're all on the wrong side of the map. He needs to recall these right now. He needs to recall these Tempests right now. He's got almost no gateway units. There is no other way to defend this except recall. He wants to kill the hatchery really badly, though. Otherwise, he feels like the Zerg can just pull back and he's behind. But he's going to have to recall. Otherwise, he's going to get overrun here. He's got 1 cannon. That 1 cannon does help, as does the extra battery. The stasis traps have only frozen a few units, though. He's only able to buy so much time. The Oracle's going to run forward. He's going to now recall the Tempest. He does kill the hatchery. He recalls. But red hit point Tempest need to run away. Run away. He can't lose the Tempest. Oh my gosh, he's going to have to pull the probes back. The Adepts, the Stalkers, trying to buy time. The Tempest will eventually beat the Hydras, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. The battery goes down. You don't want to lose these probes. The Link Flood's going to be dangerous. The Tempest, careful with the Tempest, bro. The probes get pulled into the fight. A clutch hold there for Hero. He is going to survive without losing too many probes, I believe. If he can get a few more Adepts swapped in, he's only got 1 Stalker on the ground. Oh no. The probes are vulnerable. The Hydraling gets in. The probes have to fight. Probes fighting Hydraling is not good. I thought he'd held it, but he just has no units left on the ground. And look at that. Even a Tempest is going to go down. The Hydras only have movement speed. Oh, they have range as well. Another Tempest falls. And the Hydraling is doing really well. These Hydras are kind of trapped back there. 2 Hydras will get a bit more damage on the Tempest. A few more Hydras and things coming in. The probe count. Probes and slow zealots chasing after Hydras. 2 Oracles are building right now because he's got no other production. He's got 2 gates, so he's making Oracles to try to help. What an absolute disaster of a game this is. And I think Rogue's build just matching up really nicely against Hero's build. The fast Hydras, a good counter preemptively to the Tempest without even knowing it's happening. I don't know if Hero could have done anything else in this scenario. I guess if he recalls the Tempest immediately, maybe. Because honestly, killing the hatchery did nothing for him. In his mind, he probably didn't know about the 4th base up there, and he thought he needed to kill it. If he recalls the I mean, if he just noticed the rocks going down, actually. Because if he even had a single Adept over there stopping the rocks going down, then I think he's fine, right? Because if those rocks buy him even 20, 30 more seconds, it's a totally different game. But the fact that he just got free entry to the main, definitely a big problem for Hero. You know, really big problem not watching for that backdoor breakdown. He really could have delayed. We can check the replay really quickly here, guys. But those rocks kind of, they were getting worked on for like minutes. Yeah, he was working on it. I mean, this is something you got to look for 4.5 minutes. Oh my lord. Look at that. We're at 8 times speed. 4.5. The Tempest flew past it. He flew right past it with his Tempest. Oh my lord. Wait, and I guess his first Tempest were on a different route, so they didn't see it. But then the next Tempest rallied straight across the map and it sees it. Oh, guys, you got to pay attention. You can't let people work on your backdoor for 1.5 minutes without noticing. Even here, he's still not noticed. How's he not noticed? You can hear the sound effect. Okay, he finally is like, what's that sound? Moves over there. Way too late. Oh, Rogue. I don't think this was going to be I think this was a good opening for Rogue. I didn't think it was just going to kill him, though. GG, well played. Beautiful game for Rogue. Gets the 2-0 advantage. All right, guys, here on the bottom right side of the map. Down 2-0. He's going to go for the early block again. But Rogue... Oh, he's down here very early. Guys, why did Rogue send the drone this early? This is way too early. If you built an Overlord... Oh, I guess because if he saw the probe coming, he could have cancelled the Overlord to build the hatchery. Right. I always forget. That's the cool thing you can do. If you send the drone down at like 28 seconds... and then you see the probe coming in for a super early block, you cancel your Overlord, build the hatchery, and then rebuild the Overlord. And it gets it down in time, and it denies the block. There you can see Rogue's going to do... Oh, he actually is trying to shuffle his workers a bit. I'm very critical of Rogue's worker micro in these scenarios. I'm critical of most players' worker micro, to be fair. Oh, look at this. His gas just got denied for like 4 seconds. For those who don't know, if you're right next to a gas, because it takes a bit more space, the extractor, than the actual building, they can't place it. There used to be a really funny thing, by the way. It used to be, they fixed it. I kind of wish they didn't. It used to be, it would just stop you from placing it, but if you didn't have vision of the unit blocking, it wouldn't stop you from placing it. So if you were trying to gas steal, and say the Zerg blocks with their drone, they don't want to take the gas yet, they just don't want you to take it, so they hold position a drone next to the gas. You could run out of vision of the gas, tell it to build the assimilator, and then your probe would come back and build the assimilator, even though it was meant to be blocked by the drone. So back many, this is like a decade ago, there was like a cool little dance, and they'd be like, you can't steal my gas because I'm standing next to it. And then you'd just be like, well, I'm just gonna run back and then place it anyway. And people were like, what the hell? How'd you do that? And you're like, it can place as long as you don't have vision of the block. First time it happened to you would be very triggering. And you'd be like, okay, all right, I just need to build my own gas if they do that. I need to, otherwise they're gonna steal it. All right, guys, probe's gonna pull out, Zerglings chase it. Perfect timing to leave the base. Quick Stargate down just before 220. And you can see Adept into Warp Gate here as 50 gas ticks over. And then a second Adept, but no chronos into the Adepts. It's purely into the probes. This is the economic version of the build, Firo. Now, I have been ranting, watching Rogue murder Protosses, saying, guys, you got to do those Glaive Adept timings. Now, how do you guys think a Glaive Adept timing would have worked in that last game against the Hydraling? I think it would have been playable. I don't think you kill the guy who's already got a ton of Hydras out really early. Maybe you do barely get in there before the Hydras pop and you actually murder his economy. Maybe. But otherwise, you can defend a Hydraling attack very well with Glaive Adepts anyway. So I think it's actually plays perfectly well against every build I've seen out of Rogue in his last 10 or 15 games. So interesting to see. I think it should definitely come out at some point, but the Void Ray actually makes me think Hero's going to play very standard into Blink. Used to be Void Ray meant cheesy games, and yet it feels like it hasn't been that way recently. Obviously, was it Void Ray in the last map, guys? I know game 1 was Void Ray. I feel like maybe he just went straight Oracle in that last game. Obviously, you do want to disguise the Tempest transition, so maybe he did go Void Ray all 3 games in a row so far. Dep's dancing around. It's Oracle after Void, as expected. He's not going to go for this Overlord, guys. He wants to go forward, kill this Overlord. What I really want to see is when he kills that, rotate to the right or left and look for another Overlord. Usually, Zergs always go Overlord here, Overlord here. So if you grab one, rotate. Often he just headbutts. He doesn't even look at it. Or like Prismatic Alliance and then just doesn't do anything. I really want to see him rotate and look for another Overlord. Yeah, look for it, look for it. He does cancel the Prismatic. If he kept that on, that might have actually been better for killing this. I think the Queens can save this, unless he's willing to sack the Void Ray, which he's not. Void Ray takes a bit of damage. Overlord does survive. Good defense for Rogue, who's got 3 Queens out front, pushing the Void Ray back. Void Ray was looking to see if the Queens would back off, and he could maybe dip back in for it. Not able to get it. Oracle follows up. Look how fast this 4th is going to be. Good drone pull away for Rogue. Rogue's defense has been great, man. He's really playing a very good series. Twilight Council has finally gone up. Okay, this is actually a Twilight Council timing that could go into Glaive Adepts. Doesn't necessarily go into it. Could still just be Blink. Nexus had a good timing. 4 gates coming up. Overlord does die in the main base. And where is that Void Ray, guys? Just over here now. Oh, go for the cancel. Pulls away from the creep. It's going to do a lot of damage, but the hatchery is building, which essentially kind of heals it as it's going. 300 hit points. 250. Queens are there. Easy save. Still an Overlord on this side. This is one of the best hiding spots, guys. If someone goes Void Ray, you want to go as close to their base as possible on the very edge, because normally they'll expect you to be further out, and they won't actually check right there. Cute little thing. I use it with a pretty high success rate in Grandmaster. If I see a Void Ray building, I pretend to run this way, and then I immediately dip back to the right and actually go as far close to the buildings as I can without getting spotted. Just outside of their vision. Les started at 520. It's Evo Chamber again. He's got a macro hatch in the wall. He's playing Mass Zergling again. He's up 2 games. I would say this is stupid, but you're up 2 games. Why not? 5 hatcheries already. He's got about 1 billion supply free, 69 workers. He's only on 1 gas. He's going to take a 2nd and a 3rd now. He builds a Roach Roaring. I don't even know why you'd bother. It's not like you're going to play Ravageling Bane off this, right? I guess it's just in case he needs to build roaches. Yeah, it makes sense. But I think we're going to see Infestation as soon as the lair's done and nothing but Zergling production. He sees the Stalkers. It's got to be nothing but Zergling. You got 5 hatch Zergling production. And there's only one Oracle for stasis traps. It's also using a lot of energy on that right side. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Hero F2's his Oracle through the Spore. You gotta be careful, mate. And then he tries to stasis trap on the front line. Absolute mad, lad. The insanity of this young man. He's getting surrounded. Rogue with the massive Zerglings and the Queens shoving it back. Who the hell just F2s into the mineral line like that? What the hell? Dude, what I would pay to have no fear in big tournaments like Hero. It's you know, so many people get more risk averse in big tournaments. Hero just leans into it and gets crazier. I love it. Oh, so crazy. The Extractor's going to get picked off. It's a cute little pick off. Does take a lot of damage though. Void Ray barely survives, and he's got very little support now to deal with this mass Zergling. 5 hatchery mass Zergling. Doesn't even have melee yet. Who needs it? Void Ray gets sniped by the Queens coming off creep. The Oracle's helping out, but these Stalkers are getting hammered, man. The Oracle gunning down a lot of Zerglings, but Stalkers are worth so much. You can lose 7 Zerglings for every Stalker and still trade evenly, guys. You can see that reflected in the top units left. Units lost tab in the left. 14 Protoss have died for 85 Zerg, and yet the Zerg is winning the trades. And normally the downside of Zerglings is obviously they cost so much lava, but if you've got 5 hatcheries now with a 6th on the way, might even take a 7th on the left, it could be really good. He's actually pivoting Hydra Bane. I don't know. I feel like Ultras off this opening makes so much sense. But I guess he's just like, whatever. I think he could have squeezed an Infestation and already had his Hive halfway done by now. With the way he opened, it's like the perfect setup for the Ultra build. Whereas the Hydras, you get Hydras and Banes, they both die to Storm. Max Ling also struggles with Storm and Archon. So it doesn't really solve the next step that is logical for Protoss, if that makes sense. Now, this is kind of an interesting fourth. And when I say interesting, I think, is awful the correct word? Why would you take this fourth when you've got this one that's right next to your third? I guess there's a big arc there and there, but like, I don't know, I feel with a few buildings and storms, that's like so easy to defend. This base on the right sticks out like a sore thumb. There's this giant 2 ramps attacking into it as well. Oh no, the Stalkers. There's so many Zerglings, he's not even gonna get home, man. He's not gonna get home. The Lings surrounding, +1 melee is now done. The Stalker's getting ravaged. Hero is down 70, 80 supply here, and Rogue just ransacking Protoss in this tournament, and not a single one has built a single Glaive Adept, and it's absolutely flabbergasting. Oracle into Glaive Adept would have counted every one of Rogue's builds in this tournament so far, and it is just not happening. Wild. To see this level of Zerg greed go unpunished is fascinating. I'm impressed that Rogue feels confident doing this, but I've seen just as many series where he gets punished for it, and that's why I'm a little critical of the Protoss players playing to Rogue's strengths. Don't get me wrong, Rogue's played an excellent game, but I would have loved to see him be forced to adapt in this series and the previous one. He hasn't had to. And I mean, with no Psystorm, what are you going to defend with? 3 Archons, 5 Stalkers, you're about as dead as they come. 14 Hydras with double upgrades about to kick in, +1 range is almost there, +2 melee is almost there. The Zealot count is kind of annoying. He does pull his army back momentarily. If you let Rogue play the game he wants to play, he is a force to be reckoned with. I don't want to take anything away from him here. I guess I'm just a little disappointed in how a few Protoss players have played against him in this tournament. Just wanted to vocalize that, but it is good to see Rogue back in the driver's seat. I can't wait to see what his like ZVZ or ZVT is like. I mean, getting through Hero here in the lower bracket is huge. And he's gonna have big opponents in front of him. Like it's not a clean path in the lower bracket. There's guys, you know, you're probably gonna have to fight through some of those really good Terran players. Beyond and Cure, a few players who might be there in the lower bracket ahead of him as well. So let's go down. Hydraling Bane coming in. So let's move into that top right. They're getting surrounded. Hero's doing a great job of buying time. This is really impressive. Is this one of those impossible games that he comes back in? Zealots are just distracting. The Archons clean up some Ling Bane there. Mama's almost out. I mean, Mama's in production. Tempests are building out of the Stargate one at a time. But he's still not got Psystorm. Guys, Hero's just not been making Psystorm recently, and it's crazy. Psystorm is such a good spell. It's so good, and it's like the comeback mechanic that he refuses to use lately. Not a fan. I thought he had Psystorm, and I thought he'd get back in this, but instead, the door is open, the Lings will get in, Baneling's rolling in the front. He does evacuate the probes. Great reaction speed, dude. Zealot Warpin's there as well, but I think there might just be too much Zerg on the dance floor. He runs from one base to the safety of the Banelings running into another base. Safety, of course, very tongue-in-cheek. And the Hydraling Bane. Quite scary. The supplies shockingly close. If there was a few storms here, maybe. Archon's trying to kite backwards. The Zealot's getting cleared by the Banes. There's just not that many Hydras. Needs to get rid of these Archons. They're so low. If all the Archons go down, that's huge. The Archons all fall. With the Archons gone, that is a disaster for Hero, who's down 35 probes here. He's at 47 to 81. That Nexus on the right side takes big damage as well. Ling's running into the main to cause even more disruptions and distractions. And the Nexus goes down. He should have left the Mothership at the front to keep that one cloaked. Big mistake pulling that Mama back. 6 base up is for Rogue. Macro hatch was such a unique decision. Do you guys think he planned this, or was this he missed macroed and went, "Ooh, I need to spend my minerals," and just like threw the hatchery down? Because sometimes that's really good. I think he planned it because he was so slow to take extra gases. He was on basically 1 gas until he had 4 mineral lines saturated. Like, that level of greed is impressive. It's the sort of greed that gives you no flexibility if you do get hit by Glaive of Depths or Zealot Archon, because you can only build Lings, Queens, maybe Spines to defend. And you can't really make much Roach or Bane, especially since his Roach run was so late. But gets away with it, and it's beautiful. These staggered gateways make this area very hard to fight into for a Zerg with a proper army coming from the left. Wouldn't Sidestorm be hard to use if you don't use specific control groups for the Templars? Nah. Most players at the highest level often have their army split into 2 or 3 squads anyway. So yeah, you can just... It's hard to use the sentries. If you want to use sentries as well, because you have to tab to them, but the High Templar usually gets selected first, so it's not too hard. I mean, will you lose some of them being a bit clumped up to EMPs or Banelings sometimes? Yes, Hero does sometimes fumble them, but I mean, there's about 1,000 things where you could say, well, Hero doesn't use very organized control groups. Wouldn't Starcraft be hard if you don't use organized control groups? Many would say yes, and yet we watch Hero win tournaments all the time, where, for those who don't know, I know I tell the story a lot, he uses control groups in a completely unique way. His control groups are, the most recent thing he looked at is number 1, and then the next thing he looks at is number 2, the next thing he looks at is number 1 and number 2. So he's constantly remaking his control groups. It's basically, he just uses them to jump back to the last thing he selected. So if he wants to select this, he grabs it, puts it on a control group, does something with it, goes, looks here, grabs these guys, does something with them while putting them on control 2. And he goes, oh, I want to go back to that Zealot. He'll double tap 1. That's pretty much all he uses control groups for, is to jump back to something that he was just looking at. And he doesn't even think about the control groups. He just naturally, as he selects things, control groups them. Is like one of the first things he does when he's selecting things. It's a very odd style. So most people, it's like, all of my Mutalisks are on this control group. All of my Stalkers are on this control group. My main army's on this group. My secondary army's on this group. Hero, it's completely fluid. It means he's very adaptive and comfortable in chaotic situations. It also means he's constantly chasing down redundant actions where he's used the select all army key to do something and cancelled a bunch of previous orders, so he has to go back and reissue them. And it means when he's on the defensive, he's nowhere near as good when he's on the offense. When he's attacking and in control of the pace, he looks like one of the greatest players in the world. But sometimes when he's defending 2-3 places at once, you really get to see the lack of organization start to hurt him. So it's a double-edged sword. No Storm in here. Archer and Mortal Tempest trying to defend. Dude, I'm impressed with his supply. And what's the follow-up here for Rogue? Spy is adding air attack? Interesting. Hive finally begins. Dude, is Rogue letting this go for too long? I mean, it's a 48 probe, 3 base Protoss with minerals mining out. Come on. I might be reaching. It's just the army supply for Hero is so scary. But then I remember there's no Storm backing it up. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it matters. Definitely a round of Corruptors to deal with the Mothership and the Tempest would I think, make this a lot more of a position I love for Rogue. Hero's actually got an advantage in army supply, but Rogue has crazy money. He just has to not take a terrible trade. Overseer's fly on top. Time Warp coming in. Beautiful Time Warp. The Banelings looking for the Zealots. Good choice on the Banes. Oh, the Zealot micro Hero. He's trying to evade the Banelings. He eventually does headbutt into them and loses most of them. That was a good trade for Rogue. Even though he loses a lot of his army, doesn't kill all the Protoss, killed most of the Archons, killed a lot of the Zealots. Lings were in the natural killing. 13 probes in the meantime. And that allows you to use your bank and remax. If he let Hero max up more, it would have been a real problem. But as it is, not bad. +1 armor. So if you're going to go Mass Archon, which Hero's been playing, he should have gone Plasma Shields instead of armor. If you play Mass Archon, Plasma Shields is a very valuable upgrade. Normally, in a lot of situations, it's not as good as armor. But definitely, even though it's a little pricier, I would advise Shields when you go so heavy on Archons. Of course, all of his Archons are dead now. Baneling's rolling in. Huge Ling Bane Hydras around. Prism trying to save what he can. But even Mama ain't going to get you out of this one. You can hide behind her skirts all you want. At the end of the day, they will find you and they will lock you up. Rogue with a absolutely dominating 3-0 And guys, I gotta say, is he getting away with greed? Yes. Are the Protoss failing to do what I believe is the most effective counter build? 100%. Is Rogue not just beating them, but mauling them despite that? Yeah, Rogue's looking really friggin' good right now. But I can't wait to see what happens when he's forced to adapt against some more aggressive Protoss timing attacks that look to punish you for essentially doing a pure Ling Queen opening for the first 7 minutes of the game with no Baneley Nest, no Roach Warren, and not much gas. It gives you amazing mineral production, amazing explosive economy, but it is meant to be dangerous. And the fact that he's been doing this game after game after game in this tournament, the Protoss players are not punishing it with the correct builds, has me a little bit slack-jawed. I can't wait to see what happens in the next rounds. GG, well played.